What's up, Ravens fans? Training camp is officially upon us. The veterans reported today, and that means that the entire team is here in Owings Mills to get this thing kicked off. So lots of good questions in our Ravens mailbag this week, so let's just jump right into it. The first one is about the running back. This is a big topic this week, and Stephen Gilman wants to know, what are we going to do at running back?
Well, I don't think the Ravens are going to make any big moves after the injury to Kenneth Dixon, which, by the way, is a huge bummer.
Yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah, he looked like he was primed to kind of break out in his second season. But with that said, first of all, we don't really know how long he's going to be out at this juncture. Potentially, he could be a player that the Ravens bring back at the end of the season for the last month of the year. We're not really sure right now the extent of that injury. With that said, I don't think the Ravens are going to go out and make any kind of big addition or trade for any running back. They already have a pretty big stable of talented running backs already. I mean, you have Terrence West, who's your returning starter and leading rusher from last year. He's obviously going to be a big part of this rushing attack. You also already added Danny Woodhead, and I think that he's going to carry the ball more than people think. You know, everybody talks about Danny Woodhead and what he's going to do as a pass catcher, which I think he's going to have a huge role in that. But I do think that he could get 100, maybe a little over 100 carries, which could be a career high for him. So I think Woodhead is going to be a big piece of this running game. And then look at Buck Allen. I mean, Buck Allen is another piece. You have Taquan Mizzell. There are options at running back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see how Buck does. You know, a couple years ago as a rookie, he was somebody that really impressed a lot of people. Didn't see much action last year, but this is a big opportunity for him. How does he look in training camp? He's one guy I'm definitely interested to see. So the next question, this comes from Hunter Richards, and the question is, where do we stand with Zachary Orr? Well, this is a good question. I think more than where do the Ravens stand with Zachary Orr, I think it's where does Zach stand with his health. You know, when he went through this press conference in January, there was a finality to it. It seemed like his career was done. Well, now there's another doctor that's supposedly telling him something different, that he could play. But what it comes down to is a number of different things. There's the interest level. Sure, in a vacuum, would the Ravens be interested in having Zach Orr on the field? Of course, he was an All-Pro last year. But he has to get medically cleared to play. You know, he's taken a number of visits with different teams, and up to this point, he hasn't been signed. So is that an indication that he's not passing medical checks from other teams? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know all those details.
But you would think if everything was okay, if everything was a green light, you would think he would be on a team by now.
Exactly, and so that to me says that maybe his neck isn't quite the way that one doctor told him. And he has to get cleared. Before he ever steps on the field, a doctor has to put that stamp of approval on there. Team doctor, and until that happens, he's not going to sign anywhere.
And to be honest with the Ravens, I just don't really see a reunion right now. The Ravens know the situation better than anybody. If they wanted him back and felt okay with the situation, I think he would already be in the building.
Yeah.
Last question comes from Tony Mackey, and the question is, considering the Ravens are projected to have even less salary cap room than normal once the season starts, what is the most realistic way Ozzie can find the money for a serviceable veteran O-lineman? Well, this is already assuming that the Ravens are going to sign an offensive line, which I understand. We've all talked about that they will look to see who gets cut. Now, the Ravens are projected to have, you're right, Tony, only about $1 million under the salary cap once the season begins. That's not much, but there's a lot of finagling that can happen, and we've seen this before. Terrell Suggs has done it. He's restructured his contract. Other guys could be asked to restructure their contract. You look at a Marshall Yanda. You look at a Justin Tucker, Eric Weddle. You look at players who you know they're going to be here for a little while. You don't mind paying them a little later, less right now and a little later, because you know they're dependable players, they stay healthy, and they're going to be really good for a little while. So those could be some players that the Ravens go to and say, hey, would you mind shuffling this so we could bring in this guy?
And a restructure isn't a pay cut. You know, it's something that benefits both sides. The player's willing to do it because they still get their money.
Yeah.
And the team's willing to do it because it frees up salary cap space.
Exactly. So I think that that's an option that could come down the road if an offensive lineman shakes out that they like.
The other thing, too, is that the Ravens could still release players that are making some money right now. I don't think anything big, but you still free up a little bit of money here and there if that happens during training camp. So, all right, that does it for this week's episode of Ravens Mailbag. But as always, we'd love to hear from you guys, so send in those questions on social media every single week. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy training camp, and have a great rest of your day.